Welcome to Just in Time series with Vishwadharma. In this podcast, very important topic. It's all about environment. Your environment shapes your success. Yes. So this podcast is very important, essential for parents, which means it is essential for students, the parents whose children are studying, they are into academics, right? For all the students, this is an important topic. See, if you just imagine that you are at a temple, right? You are at a temple or at school or at college, how your behavior is, how is your thought process? Let's say you are at a shopping complex, a big shopping mall. How is your thought process? And let's say you are at a friend's party, some kind of get together, kind of socialized party. How is your mood? How is your mind? Versus if you are in a meditation hall or doing yoga or in a temple, right? So how is your mindset? How is your thought process? Definitely there is a variation, right? There is a variation. So what kind of environment that is essential for excelling in studies, right? So at home, do you have an environment where the atmosphere, right, the situation, the conditions at home, they are promoting a calm environment, or they are promoting a high degree of attention and concentration for you to study peacefully? Of course, it varies, right? From each family to family, it varies. Depends on the economical conditions, financial situation, lot of factors. But parents strive to create an atmosphere. Parents strive to create an environment for their children's studies, right? And if in case, let's say there is a high frequency of visits, number of visits from your relatives, from your friends, right, to your house, then definitely it causes a distraction for your studies, right? So parents, they try to allocate a dedicated separate room. Of course, out of maybe they ask the children to use bedroom or study rooms. So some families, they may have a study room also separately. Depends on their financial conditions, the status, we can say, or the levels, right? So now there is a disadvantage, right? So when students, meaning when the children have a separate room, then that is where all the problems begin. We think that that's a solution for concentration, that's a solution for studying peacefully and so on. But that's only for 5% of the children. Only 5%, right? Maybe 10% we can say. Let's be optimistic. Or let's say 20% also, that's fine. Right? 20% of the children, they may able to utilize that option. They may able to utilize that calm environment, a dedicated separate room for their concentration and for their studies. But what about majority of the people? I don't want to say again 70% or 80%, 90%, something like that. Majority, right? In a current situation, the children who are asked to study in a separate room, right? So is there any appropriate monitoring? And of course parents, they stop monitoring their children at one stage when they reach certain age, when the children reach certain age. And it is not actually monitoring as per the situation that every family faces, right? It's not actually monitoring. It is about nurturing, it is about harvesting, it's about caring. We should never treat that as a kind monitoring, right? It's about caring, it is about nurturing. The same children, when they grow up and after their marriage and when they get their children, they will definitely realize the importance of the so-called monitoring, what they call now. But indeed it's not monitoring, right? It's a nurturing, it's a harvesting, it's observing, it's observation, right? How a seed is growing, right? So it's all about cultivation, it's all about how do we nurture, how do we harvest, right? So the question to parents: what kind of environment that you have created for your children to succeed, to excel, to shape your children's success? What kind of environment, what kind of timetable, or what kind of atmosphere you have created in order to make sure that your children are not getting distracted frequently and they are able to study peacefully, right? And how are you managing a constant source of distraction, a constant source of distraction for majority of the people? Of course it is not 100% source of distraction, though there are good programs also that I'm talking about the television set, right? The TV, there are good programs also. I'm not talking about the the small good proportion of the population. There are people who knows how to utilize television in a right way, how to utilize internet in a right way, how to utilize mobile in a right way. That's very less percentage of population. That's not the subject here. That's never about the point or a concern. It's about majority, because majority is what drives the economy. Majority is what drives the society. The problem or the concern or the area of opportunity is here majority, right? What majority does, what majority thinks, speaks, that's what influences everybody else. So what kind of environment that you are creating, that you are harvesting for your children to grow holistically in a rational manner, where they can enjoy their studies, right? And create a sense of responsibility towards society. Not just about excelling about academics, right? But it's about excelling as a good human being in society, right? So how much controls that the parents are keeping? Control is not a negative, it doesn't have a negative context or a connotation. Of course these days the word control is becoming like a negative connotation, but that's not it is meant for, right? So recently I was going through some of the articles where it's written like how the parents should treat their children at various stages in the different phases of life. So if the children up to up to age 5, right, we should the parents should treat their children as a divine source, meaning they should see, they should treat their children up to age 5 as serving to God. And from age 5 to 15 years, or maybe 20 years, you can say 15, let's say 15, right? So 5 to 15 is what the children should be treated as servants, right? Parents supposed to treat their children as servants between 5 to 15 years of age. I know some of the parents, they may feel, you know, little grumpy about hearing this, but that's what shapes the career. That's what, you know, is going to make the child what the parents aspire to become, right? So treating servant in the sense, it's not about suppressing, or it's not about it's not about the way that you imagine. Treating as a servant, it means creating an awareness about selfless service, creating an awareness about all the good qualities, samskaram, right? The samskar, good conduct, and creating a right moral and right ethical aspects of thoughts, right? So that's what the focus should be from age 5 to 15 years of age of the children. And after 15 years, right, the parents should treat their children as their friends. And if you try to command and control, or if you try to put the children in a disciplined mode, that's impossible task. That's what the article says about, and it really resonates really well, and it's a pure common sense, right? So let us understand these aspects, simple aspects. Think about it. What kind of environment that you have created for your children to nourish, flourish, and then become the best, neighborhood in the society, so that the neighborhood doesn't become Robin Hood in the future. I hope you find this small podcast useful. If yes, you know what, how you can support. Thank you so much.